Next one's from Wilfredo Quinones, subject to creative segments. I was watching some classic WWE segments from back in the day. Booker T and Stone Cold in a mini market fight. Big Show and Bossman in a funeral. Austin and McMahon at the hospital. What do you guys think the WWE don't produce segments like that anymore in today's product? Thanks and happy Thanksgiving. They do kind of produce, that's few and far between that stuff. And plus, too, it takes a lot to, when you go off site, okay, it costs money to produce. All right, so it's like they're
and it takes forever, bro, because you got to get people now walking into the shot, the lighting. It's kind of and back then there was like a war, so everybody was trying to put on their best TV. But they have done some cinematic matches, and they did do some stuff with Bray Wyatt that was kind of very different.
Right. Next is some Impact Entertainment, something the AEW roster split. Hello, everyone. I want to thank you for answering my question last week. It meant a lot to me. No, I don't work for Impact Wrestling, LOL. I just wanted to use the Impact as a name, and I wanted to become a wrestler before I started my own family and saw how difficult it was going to being away from my family. My question to you guys is, wouldn't it be better to have a roster split in AEW, where more of the talents that came from the Indies work Rampage and Collision, since wrestlers were mainly booked in the weekends and could be lead by guys like Jericho, Omega, Moxley, and Bryan Danielson, since they want to work all those guys anyways, and there's an audience for that, where those fans would go out to those indie shows anyways in the weekends and have more seasoned guys on Dynamite like Edge, Christian, MJF, and RVD. Very long sentence. No, brand splits don't work. That's been proven.
Yeah, not only that, they have too many guys for Dynamite, and they need other guys to help draw. Right. Whether it's a lot or a little, and indie guys aren't going to do that.
Right.
You're a little.
Seen what happened.
You're a little scratchy, Conan. If you could pull it away just a little, that's all. Thank you.
Next is from Dale M. Fortunio, and the subject is D-Day Party. Hey gang, picture this: your grandfather's gripping his rifle, ready to storm Normandy. Intensity and fear is in his mind, and all of a sudden, to his left, a clown comes out with balloons and a cake and confetti streamers. I'm getting ready for the deathmatch with Adam Page and Swerve, an intense and heated rivalry with an animosity about to commence. Right before they enter the arena, a dance commences by a feckless manager on the entrance occurs. I'm sorry, but the company gets in their own way of trying to be serious just to make the seals clap in the front row. Would you guys even try to integrate this in any way to a blood feud? Bonus. Where was the most disappointing place you've ever eaten on the road? You too, Joe. This is gonna be a hot take. I was not impressed with Sabatino's in Baltimore. I didn't like the sauce. It was all watery and runny. It was and everybody thought that that's where all the boys go after the show. So Sabatino's was anybody listen to this that you're pretending that you like Sabatino's. I'm calling you out on that.
Yeah, Bam is from Baltimore, so Bam, write in and tell us what you think about that statement there.
Right. Also, me and Conan have been very vocal that the way Swerve's character is being presented, the Nana guy dancing around out there as his manager doesn't fit with what you're trying to tell Swerve as. And so I would agree that was, he should be man. If Nana wants to do that, find another guy to manage and be a babyface manager and come out and have the people go dance along with what you're dancing.
You take a lot of his aura away. And I'll give you an example. Remember when Roman for 2 weeks in a row kept telling his cousin, I don't like you saying ye, cut it out.
Right.
That's what he should do. Cut, dude. I'm here to do business.
Right.
You want to dance? So yeah.
So
was there a question in here?
That's
I will agree with Sabatino's. Not having gone there, any of that cheese whiz that Joe eats is disgusting. And there were a couple Denny's, not all of them. There were a couple Denny's and Waffle Houses that had an unsanitary vibe, like the menu had syrup on it or was stuck to the table, and that grossed me out. So yeah.
I would just say never. I'm only answering because he asked me to. Yeah, don't get a cheesesteak or a hoagie anywhere in New Jersey if it's over 10 miles outside of Philly, because there's something wrong with their rolls. It never tastes right.
Next is from John Kamepa, subject's new dirt sheet likes post. Will Ospreay signed with AEW officially, and I'm sure he's being very well paid. Good for him. Good for any wrestler makes as much money as he can while they can. Perhaps K100 though. Has Ospreay signing with AEW exposed the latest dirt sheet lie? In 2023, we've all seen the reports about how WWE has great interest in Jay White, Will Ospreay, Okada, Ibushi, only for them to shockingly debut with AEW. Ibushi in particular is a strange one because he himself said that he signed his deal with AEW in July, yet for months and months, people like Sapp and Meltzer have been reporting how he was talking with WWE. What I'm asking is the new WWE has huge interest in signing this talent, actually a cover-up for how the talent is already signed with AEW so they can do the AEW's where I really want to be stuff that they say at media scrums while Tony Khan sits beside them with his dorky smile and his marky smug face.
Curious.
I don't know. I don't know how these guys are negotiating, okay? But I know that WWE obviously had interest in Will Ospreay, and if they didn't, they're stupid, okay? But from what Will Ospreay saying, one of the deal breakers that their guess is that he wanted to spend a lot of time of his time back in England. And that's kind of like a deal breaker for WWE. You got to be here. You got to stay in the States. You got to, like, if you want, bro, if you, like, you have to move to the United States if you want to work for WWE. If he wasn't willing to do that, then he's like, but ultimately, think how that is.
I'm sorry, he used to say that. The point of this now was he's finally ready to commit to America. That's why he came over now to sign full time with somebody. This is the first time he was willing to do that.
Well, he signed with. Well, the funniest thing was though, is they signed him and they announced it, but then they said he's still not finished up with his New Japan deal. It's going to be a little bit of time before he comes in. So, I don't know, like that, whatever.
Let me just say about this guy that thinks he basically is calling in question like that the dirt sheets are lying about talking to these guys. Is that basically the gist of it?
Kind of, yeah.
Or the dirt sheets are being manipulated to make it seem like WWE has interest to make AEW look cooler when they get the signing. You see?
All
right. Well, I can tell you this. They probably talked to all those guys. They would be dumb not to. And I do know for a fact, that there are guys that were going to sign with WWE, and Tony basically outbid them in some cases. I felt he overpaid them. But if you remember, WWE was doing the same thing. They didn't want nobody going to AEW, so they were like overpaying everybody. And they're like, let him get in depth and overpay all these guys. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. It's going to be interesting with the MJF thing. I mean, if Tony,
he's going to have to roll out the Brinks truck. But at the end of the day, it's like I told you the other day when LAX said, bro, there's nothing left for us to do. What is there left for him to do?
Right. Yeah. Well, what else is he going to do there? Yeah.
He's
already in an angle with like 9 guys right now.
Right.
It's like what does he do after this?
And he already fought Punk, and he had a chain match, and he's done everything. Right. Basically just about.
Next is some key. Actually, Tony should not meet his asking price. Maybe that's what Tony's doing with him right now. Is that he's definitely not going to like pay what he wants, and he's just going to use him for everything that he ever was going to use him for in the coming months going forward.
But do you want to whether you're a football team, a basketball team, a wrestling company, do you want to let your biggest draw and most popular guy go?
Probably not. But he got rid of Cody.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Yeah, but you can't be taking those massive hits, Cody. Okay, so who to you, if MJF were to leave, who to you, Disco and Joe, would take his place?
I don't know. You could slot, if you pushed him right, you could slot Wardlow into that spot. I don't know. They haven't
MJF spot. Swerve's
getting there.
Try Ricky Starks. Push Ricky Starks up there.
Kind of undersized a little bit, but that's no bigger than you think. But here's the thing, okay? Is if you look at the handful of the guys at the top of both companies, all right? WWE looked at their theirs and said like what more can we do with Edge? Like when he gets like $3 million a year. It's like, is there another feud? Like he's literally wrestled almost everybody in the company. His last one, he wanted to wrestle Finn Balor. Who's next on his plate? And they're looking at probably saying like, well, nobody that's going to draw money with. So they let AEW sign him. Well, I'm wondering if like Tony's thinking the same way with MJF. Okay, we'd like to keep this guy. He is a face, but like what is left on his plate? And his act is getting kind of repetitive and stale. He's been doing the same thing, and he's a babyface now. And it's not. Let's face the facts.
But
He's not.
the only problem with that is whether it's getting repetitive or not. The people still love that guy. I have not heard the crowd reaction go down at all. And any phrase he says, they repeat.
Right.
You know, whether it's kangaroo kick or I'm your scumbag or whatever he says, they're chanting it.
Yeah, I don't know.
He still got him in the palm of their palms. Yeah.
Well, like
and
Tony,
like
he probably
to do.
If Tony is over.
No, go ahead. Yeah,
well, if Tony is overpaying for these guys, I'm like, how much can you overpay, and how we're like, bro, this is all these guys at the top are basically going to be treating Tony like a money market and treating this like a money grab. They're gonna get paid a fortune because there's like this perceived competition, and he doesn't want to lose his guys. But honestly, it doesn't really matter. You know, it's like Tony doesn't have the machine in place, production wise and creatively wise, to like take the assets in, pay them the money, and get value out of what you're paying them.
Bro, and here's the problem.
The ability to do that yet.
Here is the biggest problem. They've got all the talent in the world, but they don't have the creative backing it up. And that's what kills them.
Yeah. Next
this is kind of a spin-off question, since we're talking salaries today and stuff. When you guys were in WCW, you each were there from 95, 96 till the end. What did you think of your own compensation there? Did you feel it was fair, under, or did you go,
my last contract was fair, yeah. My last contract was fair,
okay. Yeah.
Compared to what other guys were getting paid that I was working with, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It was.